Napoleon Bonaparte. Just hearing his name makes you think of smoky battlefields, cannons booming, and powerful empires marching. Not many people in history have been so admired, inspired such loyalty, and caused such fear. Born on the rugged island of Corsica, Napoleon's life story is like an epic adventure, full of ambition, genius, and sadly tragedy. He rose to power incredibly fast, but his fall was just as dramatic. In this video, we'll explore the life of this extraordinary man, his brilliant military strategies, his victories and defeats, and the lasting impact he had on the world. Get ready to travel back in time to the age of muskets and cannons, and witness the brilliance and the downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon's early life was tough, and it shaped his personality and ambition. Born into a family of low-ranking nobles in Corsica, he climbed the ladder through sheer talent and hard work. The French Revolution was happening at the same time, a time of huge change that shattered old ways and gave opportunities to ambitious young men. Napoleon started as a young artillery officer, but his talent for planning battles quickly became clear. His campaigns in Italy, where he used lightning-fast maneuvers and won decisive victories, made him famous as a military genius. Next, he set his sights on Egypt, a land of ancient wonders and strategic importance. Even though his Egyptian campaign ultimately failed, it showed his daring and his fascination with the East. It was in Egypt that he began to see himself not just as a general, but as a conqueror, a ruler like Alexander the Great. What made Napoleon different on the battlefield wasn't just his skill in tactics, but his deep understanding of strategy and logistics. He changed warfare completely, turning disorganized armies into well-run machines capable of swift and decisive action. Napoleon's strategies had a few key elements. He focused on mobility, always trying to outmaneuver and outflank his enemies. He knew how important morale was, inspiring his troops with passionate speeches and the promise of glory. And he was a master of logistics, making sure his armies had enough supplies even on long campaigns. But perhaps Napoleon's greatest strength was his ability to adapt. He was a master of improvisation, always ready to take the initiative and use his enemies' weaknesses against them. The Battle of Marengo, fought in the plains of northern Italy in 1800, shows just how brilliant Napoleon was tactically and how he could turn defeat into victory. Facing a much larger Austrian army, Napoleon's forces were initially pushed back and seemed close to collapse. But then, in an amazing turn of events, Napoleon rallied his troops and launched a desperate counterattack that completely surprised the Austrians. The battle shifted, and the French, inspired by their leader's determination, fought with renewed energy. By nightfall, the Austrian army was completely defeated, making Napoleon's reputation as the best military commander in Europe even stronger. Marengo was a victory won not just through strategy and tactics, but through sheer willpower. If Marengo showed Napoleon's resilience, the Battle of Austerlitz, fought in December 1805, was the peak of his military achievements. This massive clash, called the Battle of the Three Emperors, pitted Napoleon's Grande Armée against the combined forces of Austria and Russia. Outnumbered but not outmaneuvered, Napoleon tricked his opponents, pretending to be weak and then launching a devastating attack on their center. The Allied armies, caught by surprise and poorly organized, crumbled under the attack. Austerlitz was a masterpiece of strategic brilliance, a victory so complete that it shocked all of Europe. It solidified Napoleon's dominance, establishing him as the undisputed master of the battlefield and beginning an era of French power. Even though Napoleon was at the height of his power, the seeds of his downfall were being planted. The Iberian Peninsula, which seemed like an unimportant place for war, would become Napoleon's Spanish ulcer, a constant drain on French resources and strength. Napoleon's intervention in Spain, which he thought would be a quick operation to secure his southern flank, turned into a long and difficult guerrilla war. The Spanish people, fueled by patriotism and helped by the British, resisted French rule with a fierceness that Napoleon hadn't expected. The Peninsular War, as it became known, became a nightmare for the French, a costly and unwinnable conflict that exposed the limits of Napoleon's power and showed how effective popular resistance could be. Feeling confident after his successes, Napoleon embarked on his most ambitious campaign yet, the invasion of Russia in 1812. Leading a massive army of over 600,000 men, he set out to crush the Russian Empire and take control of Europe. However, the Russian campaign turned out to be Napoleon's downfall. The vast distances, the scorched earth tactics used by the Russians, and the brutally cold Russian winter all worked against the French army. Napoleon's once mighty force was reduced to a fraction of its former size, devastated by hunger, disease, and constant Russian attacks. The retreat from Moscow, a horrific journey through snow and ice, became a symbol of the dangers of overreaching and the limits of human endurance. Even after the disaster in Russia, Napoleon's spirit wasn't broken. He returned to France, gathered his remaining forces, and prepared for one last fight against his enemies. The Battle of Waterloo, fought near Brussels in June 1815, was the final act in Napoleon's dramatic career. Facing a combined British and Prussian army led by the Duke of Wellington, Napoleon's forces fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. After a day of intense fighting, a decisive Prussian counterattack broke through the French lines, sealing Napoleon's fate. Waterloo marked the end of his reign and the beginning of a new era in European history. Napoleon Bonaparte's life, even though it ended in defeat, left a permanent mark on the world. He was a military genius, a ruthless conqueror, and a complex person who inspired both admiration and disgust. His military innovations changed warfare forever. His legal reforms had a lasting impact on France and beyond, and his ambition redrew the map of Europe. Napoleon's rise and fall serve as a warning about the dangers of seeking too much power and the risks of unchecked ambition. Yet despite his flaws, Napoleon remains one of history's most interesting figures, a testament to the enduring power of human ambition and the never-ending allure of glory. His legacy continues to be debated and analysed, ensuring that the name Napoleon Bonaparte will always be remembered in history. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Thank you for watching.